Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Michael Fanning, and this is the Active Listening and De-Escalation Techniques training. Thank you for attending today. Before we get started, please everyone type your emails in the chat box. You will be receiving emails after this training with additional handouts and resources. If you have any questions or comments as we go along, please put it in the chat box or use the raise hand emoji if you have any questions or comments you would like to ask or speak about. All right. Thank you, everyone, for taking time to share your emails. I'm going to share my screen now. And if you see me look up, I'm just looking up at a monitor above my laptop. So if it looks kind of weird or something, but I'm going to share my screen now. Okay. And my name is Michael Fanning. I am an instructional designer, and the director of operations and training. Through my years, I've seen where active listening and de-escalation techniques are very powerful. By implementing these techniques, you can build trust with customers, navigate even the trickiest situations, and ultimately create a more positive call center experience for everyone. Today, we're going to dive into two essential skills, which is active listening and de-escalation techniques. I mean, upset customers are a reality, but mastering these skills can turn frustration into positive interactions. So I have an introduction video that I'm going to play next for y'all to watch to familiarize with our training today. Okay, so the outcomes for this is the new and existing operators will identify call routing procedures, learning how to actively listen to customers' issues to improve call times. And the second outcome is that new existing operators will identify call routing procedures, learning how to use de-escalation techniques with customers to improve call times as well. Some key performance indicators are you will be able to develop empathy using phrases like "I understand" and "I'm sorry for the inconvenience." You'll develop a personalized approach combining different techniques to suit your communication style. You'll be able to demonstrate active listening with role-playing scenarios and simulated customer interactions. You'll be able to interpret verbal cues to understand the root cause of customers' frustrations, and you'll be able to explain de-escalation. So before we get into active listening, I have a poll, and I just launched it. And the questions are: have you experienced bad customer service from a call center, and how did it make you feel? Okay, yeah, okay. Show the results, and it's like 100% has had a bad experience, and 100% have made you feel unappreciated and not heard. So what I'm going to show next is a video of demonstrating of good active listening and bad active listening skills.
Imagine that it's Saturday morning and the new cable system you ordered was just installed. You did a standard walkthrough with the tech and even checked your tablet to make sure the wireless internet worked. You're happy, so you send the tech on her way. It's not until later that day you realize you can't connect to the internet in your bedroom. You call the cable company to complain, and after being on hold for several minutes, the rep comes to the line and says, "Thank you for calling. How can I help you?" You respond, telling her everything that happened, when she just says, "Can I get your name and account number?" You verify your account when she asks, "How can I help you?" By this time, you're really frustrated. What's happening here is a failure in effective listening. Effective listening is the act of being 100% engaged when someone is speaking. It does not mean using the time the customer speaks to think of a response. It is taking in information from the speaker and then following up with feedback on what was said. In the customer service field, the greater level of effective listening, the better at serving and anticipating a customer's needs. In customer service, effective listeners make customers feel that they are not only heard, but also understood. In our example, the customer service rep made two mistakes. First, she completely ignored you when you initially explained the problem. Secondly, she asked you to repeat yourself after the verification process. Protocol is important, but hospitality towards the customer is always first priority. The fix for the mistake is easy. When a customer calls in with a complaint or an issue, show empathy by apologizing. Though you may feel that you are admitting fault, what you are actually doing is acknowledging the fact your customer is having a bad experience. Another benefit of an apology is putting the customer at ease. Showing empathy not only de-escalates the situation, but makes the customer feel heard and important. It gives them the feeling that they matter, and that finally they have reached someone who cares enough to help them. When the customer's complaint is not acknowledged, the customer begins to feel ignored and frustrated. A simple apology like, "I'm so sorry to hear about that. As soon as I can get you verified, we will work together to find a solution to your problem," not only shows empathy, it also alerts the customer of the verification process, as well as reassures the customer that you want to resolve their issue. In our example, the representative's second mistake was asking how she could help after you'd already explained the whole problem. Once you were verified, the rep should have attempted to paraphrase and repeat what she understood of your complaint. A simple, "So let me see if I understand you correctly," would have sufficed. Acknowledging the customer is more than just greeting the customer and using the correct surnames. You must be able to summarize what the customer has said, taking the time to stop every so often to verify that you understood correctly. If the rep had been an effective listener, she could have made relevant suggestions on how to solve the problem, or even upsell you to a higher internet speed or more powerful router. This is called anticipating the needs of the customer, and can only be achieved through effective listening. It is important to note that you must always explain to the customer what you are doing when trying to solve his or her issue. You must not only be able to listen and summarize what the customer has said, but once you have identified the problem, you must also be able to explain your fixes. Poor listening leads to frustrated or even irate customers. You can easily lose a new or even loyal customer if they feel like they aren't being listened to or treated well. Customers will not hesitate to leave a service provider due to a lack of customer service. They are quite capable of researching alternate service providers. The most severe consequence of bad customer service occurs when that customer leaves negative reviews. If a customer is angry enough, he or she may report your company to the Better Business Bureau and leave multiple comments on different review sites or scam report sites. This can be incredibly damaging, as you've not only lost a customer, but their reviews turn away other potential customers as well. Effective listening is understanding what a person has said and then providing relevant feedback. In customer service, effective listening entails acknowledging the customer and showing empathy by apologizing, especially when there is an issue. Effective listening allows customer service to anticipate customers' needs and might create upsell potential. The biggest consequence to poor effective listening is bad PR, which influences potential new customers.
So imagine yourself on the other side of the phone, right? And you have an issue. You just want to be heard and understood. And active listening is showing customers that you genuinely care by being present, by giving your full attention, summarizing, briefly repeating the key points in your own words shows concern, and validating feelings, knowing or acknowledging their frustration with phrases like, "I understand your frustration." So I have another poll. So how many of you experience good customer service from a call center when you're upset or frustrated? And the second question is, how did it make you feel during or after the issue was resolved? Okay, and I'll show the results of the poll. Not 100% this time. Looks like it's 88% said yes. So everybody hasn't been recovered or had a good experience. Uh, and 88% said they feel appreciated as a value customer. So, which leads to the next video I'm gonna show, which shows de-escalation techniques, which I think is what I call turning the tide, because even the calmest customer gets frustrated about call issues. So here's the next video.
You enter the break room at work to find your friend and coworker sitting at a table. Her arms are crossed, her facial expression is unpleasant, and her body language screams, "Don't come any closer." You do what any good colleague would do and ask, "Is everything okay?" She responds that she's fine, but the way she says it and how she looks tells you that she's anything but fine. Have you ever heard the saying, "It's not what you say, it's how you say it"? That basically means that regardless of the words that come out of your mouth, the way you deliver them is a lot more important. Tone of voice, inflection, volume, and pace of speech are that much more important when you're speaking to someone over the phone. Because they cannot see you, customers will make judgments about your attitude, your willingness to help, and even your personality based on the way in which you speak. Psychologist and professor Dr. Albert Mehrabian understood the importance of how we use our voices. He created the 7-38-55 rule, which states, in part, that when communicating with 100% success, the actual words used, 7%, are not as important as the way we say something, 38%, or our body language, 55%. In this lesson, we're going to talk more about tone of voice, volume, pace, and inflection in a call center environment. Tone of voice is all about the attitude behind what you're saying. Your voice doesn't change, but the way you speak to someone does. If you're angry, you may be curt. If you're happy, your voice may ooze joy. Regardless, customer service professionals have a duty to put their personal feelings behind them and use a tone of voice that is friendly, sincere, and professional for all callers. This is what keeps customers calm and engaged. But how do you accomplish this? First, use positive language. That means eliminating words and phrases like "we can't" and "you need to" from your vocabulary, and focusing on phrases like "I can" and "we will." Second, remember you are talking to another human being. You are not a robot and shouldn't sound like one, even if you have a script to follow. Sincerity and empathy sound like, "Let me see what I can do to fix your problem, Mr. Jones." Think about how you would want to be spoken to in the same situation. Third, keep it casual and friendly, but assess each situation separately. An irate customer might view your casual nature as an insult to their problems. Friendliness, however, never goes out of style. Remember that your inflection, the natural rise and fall in your voice, shows your customer that you're listening and engaged in their problem. Your tone of voice should rise and fall naturally, as if you're talking to a friend. This is important in helping to place importance on certain terms or ideas. If you need a refresher on improving your own tone, remember that engaged listening and being genuine in your desire to help are good places to start. Smiling, even though customers cannot see you, can also positively impact your mood and tone. If things get tense, take a moment to breathe, which can calm you and keep your tone even and consistent. No one wants to be yelled at, and the volume with which you speak to someone can either calm a situation or inflame it. It can be difficult to refrain from raising your own voice if the customer is speaking loudly out of frustration. However, did you know you can control the conversation simply by the volume you use? Speaking in lower tones can help calm a frustrated customer and bring their own volume down, which helps you stay in control of the conversation. Lower tones and moderate volume also help convey that you're taking their problem seriously. Vary the volume of your voice to convey importance or draw attention to a particular point. Contrast in your volume helps you to maintain the interest of the customer at the end of the line. Maybe you're naturally soft-spoken. Handling customer concerns may require you to elevate your voice's volume. Otherwise, customers may think you're uninterested or disengaged from their concerns. Have you ever met someone who talked so fast you couldn't understand them? It's important to pace your speech, even if you're naturally inclined to talk quickly. Speaking too quickly may have your customer thinking you don't take their concerns seriously, or may frustrate them if they're unable to keep up. Speak at a rate that allows customers to understand what you're saying, not too fast or too slow. If you focus on clearly enunciating everything you say, your pace will naturally slow to a rhythm that is comfortable for the listener. You can slightly vary your speed if you need to draw attention to something important, with slower speech, or if you need to keep the conversation flowing, with faster speech. Pay special attention to punctuation of the script in front of you. Commas, periods, and other marks inject natural pauses into written text that can be used to help regulate your rate of speech. Tone of voice, inflection, volume, and pace all play important roles in handling customer service inquiries. Your tone of voice should be friendly, professional, and sincere to keep a customer engaged. Improving your tone can be as simple as smiling, taking a deep breath, and approaching a call with a genuine desire to help. Volume is also important since lower tones can keep a customer calm and convey you're taking their problem seriously. Varying your volume and inflection can also help convey meaning of a particularly important point and keep the customer interested in what you're saying. Pacing your rate of speech can be achieved through careful enunciation and slowing down or speeding up as the conversation warrants. Using punctuation and written materials as a guide can help you perfect your pace.
All right. So even with the calmest customer can get frustrated. And here's a few ways, just to recap, you can escalate the situation by staying calm and professional, sets the tone, acknowledge and apologize, recognize their frustration, offer options and solutions. Make sure we're focusing on the solution, more than the problem. Um, you know, Active listening and de-escalation are all powerful tools, and by implementing these techniques, we can build trust with the customers, navigate even the trickiest situations, and ultimately create a more positive call center experience for everyone. And so now it brings us to our breakout room, which is our activity. We already have the breakout rooms divided by participants. One will be the operator, one will be the customer. We have scripts given. Part one, you'll do active listening practice for about 5 minutes. And then part two, you'll do a de-escalation challenge for about 5 minutes. Both have call and operator will switch during the scenarios. And then after that, we'll have a group discussion. All right, see y'all in a minute. Hey, welcome back. So now we're on a group discussion, and we're going to discuss the challenges faced during the exercise, share the strategies that were effective in active listening and de-escalation, and address any questions or areas of confusion. Awesome. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. Y'all have some really good de-escalation and active listening strategies. I really love that. So now it brings us to our quiz. There's 5 true and false questions that you have to answer on the quiz on what you learned today. All right. And before you go today, we'd love to hear from you. We want to know how we did. We want to know how you feel afterwards. There is 6 slider questions with a scale of 0 to 5. And then there is 1 written short answer question at the end. If you would like to see anything added or taken away from this training today. All right. I enjoyed our training session today. And I hope all y'all have enjoyed it as much as I have as well. And can't wait to see you next time. And don't forget, check your emails. So we're going to send y'all more handouts and resources. And again, thank you for joining us today.